Hey guys, I'm Nate, welcome back to the workshop. In the past, we've done a couple experiments with acetone and dry ice to make a super cool liquid that you could freeze things in. The acetone has a freezing point below the temperature of dry ice, and so it stays liquid. But today, we're gonna see what happens if we put acetone in something much colder, liquid nitrogen. We'll see if our acetone will freeze solid in liquid nitrogen, and if it does freeze, we'll see if it will still ignite when we hit it with a flame. To make this a little bit easier, let's pour some of our acetone from our big can into this squeeze bottle. That'll make it easier to get the acetone where we want it to go and perhaps drip it directly into our liquid nitrogen. Here's our thermos full of liquid nitrogen. So as a first test, what I want to do is fill one of these balloons just a little bit, just so the main pouch of the balloon is nice and full of liquid, and then I'll dip that down into the liquid nitrogen. We'll see how that goes. Guess I'm also not 100% sure what the acetone is going to do to the latex of the balloon, so that's another experiment right now. All right, balloon full of acetone, lowering into liquid nitrogen. Whew. The liquid nitrogen is getting really excited and it's splashing up a lot, and I don't really want it to be splashing on my fingers the whole time or I'll start getting frostbite. Just holding it is getting really cold. Ooh, just from the vapors. Fingers were too cold. It's already rigid. Still got liquid at the top, so I don't think we're finished freezing. But we've already made some good progress. Again, you can still see at the very top a little bit of liquid. I think we're seeing liquid acetone inside solid acetone. Hard to tell. Hard to know if the acetone is frozen or just the balloon is frozen. While that's freezing, I'll lower an empty balloon down into the liquid nitrogen as much as I can, and we'll see what happens when the latex freezes too. All right, so this is a balloon. I just managed to crack it. There we go, now I shattered it. So that's why I'm not sure if we have frozen acetone or just a frozen balloon around liquid acetone. Now it's back to just being rubber. Stretchy as always. I think I still hear liquid shaking around in there, but I do think that we have some solid acetone as well. So I think we've got a shell of solid acetone surrounding some liquid acetone at this point. Just got to get it to the point where it's solid all the way through. That's the goal. All right, our acetone in a balloon has been in the liquid nitrogen for several minutes now, so I want to take it out and try and break the balloon off of it. Now the balloon itself is going to be very brittle right now. I'm going to try and cut it, we'll see what works. Generally, we just want to get the balloon off of the acetone, however we can. That shattered. Well, we can see inside the balloon that we definitely have solid acetone. Our balloon has begun to crack. Ooh, yeah, maybe I can peel it off. Yes. Aha! Whew. There we go. Whew. Chunk of solid acetone. Let's see if this will ignite. Pour out the extra. The acetone around it will ignite. I don't know if our little lump of frozen acetone has actually lit. I'm just going to pour this out. Ooh, we can also see that our chunk was not solid all the way through. It had a little hollow spot in the middle where it was still liquid, I think. Well, that was interesting. It looked like the frozen acetone itself didn't like to stay ignited. It melted fairly quickly, and all of the melted acetone seemed like it would burn fairly easily, but the ball of frozen acetone itself really didn't seem to do too much. Let's try again. Ooh, and I'm just dripping acetone everywhere. That's not a good seal at all. balloon is attached. Let's see if it can hold pressure. Yes, it can hold pressure. So now I should be able to fill it with acetone without it leaking everywhere. Just in case, let's do this over the pot. I think that's pretty good. The rubber band's actually holding that pretty well. Now this time we're using a larger quantity of acetone, and I really want to make sure that it freezes as much as possible. So to help me hold it into the acetone bath, I'm going to tie this string around the neck, and then we'll have this string coming up out of the nozzle in our thermos. Just like that. All right, let's slowly lower. Ooh, wow, that starts doing exciting things right away. Let's slowly lower the balloon into the liquid nitrogen. There we go, and now our balloon is attached on a string. Although it might just be floating, I'm not sure about the difference in density of liquid nitrogen and acetone. That is very cold vapor on my hands. All right, let's set that aside for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and really let that acetone freeze. While our balloon full of acetone is cooling down in the liquid nitrogen, I have another experiment I want to try. I have some of our acetone still left in this squeeze bottle, and I'm going to see what happens if we add food coloring to it. I don't know if these two will mix or if they'll just sort of stay separate. Let's find out. Certainly looks like it's mixing a little bit. It's not like what happens if you put food coloring into oil. I think that's made some green acetone. It does look like there are little tiny flecks floating around in it now. And I'm not sure if that's something that happened with the separation of the dye, or if there was some other contaminants inside this bottle and those picked up even more of it. But for the most part, this looks like green acetone to me. So here we now have a styrofoam plate covered in liquid nitrogen. Let's see what happens if we drip some of our bright green colored acetone down onto it. Oh, it went right down through the liquid nitrogen onto the plate. It might be cooling down so fast that it stops eating through. Let's try and get a smaller amount out. Just like one drip, that's all I want. Our balloon filled with acetone has now been sitting in our liquid nitrogen bath for 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm hoping that it's solidified most of the way through. Let's take it out and see how it's looking. Well, that's something. Definitely deformed a little bit. It's not quite the same round shape that it was before. But I want to try taking the balloon off. And then same thing, let's see if we can get our little ball of acetone to light. I also might take it and after it's got the balloon off and put it back into the liquid nitrogen for a couple minutes. Ooh, something just cracked. Oh, that was the balloon. I think it just shattered off. How neat. Ooh, it might still have some liquid. There we go. Here's our frozen acetone balloon, which is quickly dripping off liquid and probably just melting. So I'm going to throw it back in the liquid nitrogen. I think in the time that it took to move it from the pot into the liquid nitrogen, I had melted the shape of the tongs into the sides of it. Stuff heats up quickly. Now we want to pull our frozen acetone ball out of the liquid nitrogen, put it in the pot, and try and light it on fire. But so it doesn't have time to warm up as much, let's do all of that outside with the blowtorch sitting ready. Oh, our acetone has split apart. Well, now we have several different pieces that we can try this with. Nothing. Stop coming right toward me all the time. Put this out with some nitrogen fumes. Yep. All right, let's see what piece we can grab this time. You can see the metal of the tongs is just melting right down through it. Just making my hand cold. I have to say I'm a little disappointed that we can't light this on fire. Well, there you have it, the results of freezing acetone in liquid nitrogen. It definitely freezes. It turns into a hard, solid material. I was a little disappointed that we couldn't get it to light on fire while it was still in its frozen state. It did melt very quickly, and the melted acetone was very easy to light on fire, of course, but frozen acetone, sadly, does not seem to burn. Acetone may not burn very well while it's in its frozen state, but it's still pretty useful stuff, including if you want to make your own super cooled liquid but don't have access to liquid nitrogen. Remember, if you have a bath of acetone with a lot of dry ice in it, you can get it down to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. That's cold enough to freeze a lot of stuff. Thank you for joining us for this video as part of our never-ending quest to dunk every known substance into liquid nitrogen. Remember to come gear yourself up with products and merch at thekingofrandom.com. See you there. Now, one more thing that I am going to try, even though it's maybe not the wisest. Acetone has a fairly low burn point, so I've got some insulated gloves on, and I'm just going to see if I can light my hands on fire with it. Just a little bit. There we go. That was fun. Smart? Maybe not. Fun? No, of course not. Never try that. It's not fun at all.
Hey guys, thanks so much for caring about our content and our channel so much. It really is amazing to have great people like you jumping in to watch every new video that gets uploaded and watching it to the end. You really are amazing, and we appreciate you for that.